Hello everyone, thank you for coming back to the stage. Just a very quick reminder, you can submit questions through the app, but for part of this talk we will also be having some audience participation as well, so I will be running around with a microphone if you have any questions or thoughts. So really happy to welcome to the stage Manohar Anumolu, who is the Director of MAF Group, and he is going to be delivering his keynote, Gen AI in Marketing to Improve Operational Efficiency, which I think is something we would all benefit from. So can everyone give a big round of applause to Manohar as he comes up to the stage.
Hello. Yeah. Hi guys, good morning everyone. So I'm Manohar, I'm the Director of MAF Group. So we are an IT services company, where we specialized in cloud, Gen AI, marketing automation, and digital transformation. So before starting this, so I have a lot of experience with marketing, data and analytics. I work with a lot of retail banks. I work with a lot of e-commerce industries, and I work with betting agencies. And then in 2018, we started MAF with 2 people. Now we are more than 100 people spread across India, Dubai, and also in some other parts of Middle East and also in UK as well. Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about how we have solved the operational inefficiencies in marketing using Gen AI capabilities. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples or use cases, that we have used or that we have solved with some of our clients. So I'm not going to name the clients, but they are global brands. And I'm also going to show you a little video of Gen AI application that we have built. So how it is going to help you guys to answer your data and analytics questions and marketing questions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. So unfortunately, I'm not going to exhibit any data. So the data that you are going to see is completely a demo data. But if you have any questions and if you want to know more about the applications that we have built, I'm very happy to answer. So not here, but after this, yeah. Cool, yeah. Yeah, so as I said, so how we use Gen AI to fix the marketing problems, everyone talks about, but no one solves. So we spend a lot of, so nowadays, organizations do spend a lot of money on marketing activities, so there are a lot of companies that invest money in display, paid, marketing, email, and we use a lot of tools as well. So some use Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, and we use a lot of money on LinkedIn, Facebook, display, you name it, so every organization, every big business, they have approximately about like 15 to 20 tools, that capture the data, and the data will be sitting in silos, and no one knows like what is going on, how to use the data, where to use the data, how we can stitch the data. So everything is silos. So we have every tools, we spend a lot of money, but there is a lot of inefficiencies and gaps in terms of identifying how to connect the dots. So this is one of the case study that we did with a very big retail business. So they're a global business, so they have their business spread across the world. They have the business around 100 countries and different brands. They're like multi-brand, and they spend approximately like £2 million in each country, spending on like paid, display, email, etc., etc. But the problem is, so when the customer lands on the website and when they start their journey, so they don't know why they're dropping off. So there is a huge spike in terms of like people landing onto the website or landing onto the mobile apps. They add products to the basket, they go on to different parts of the journey, like registrations, logins, and suddenly they drop off. They don't know why it is happening. The amount of money they are spending on customer acquisition on an average is going from like £22 to £75. So it's going on and on and on. So they're spending a lot of money, and the customer acquisition is one problem, and the retention is another problem as well. So what we did was, so we built a Gen AI engine. So everyone talks about Gen AI engines, but we really built a Gen AI engine so that understands the problems. But it not only understands the problem, but it also future predicts whether the customers who are going to be on the website are going to drop off based on their actions, trigger points, etc. And what we did was, we basically took the data from different places, one from web analytics data, one from marketing data, one from email campaigns, Salesforce, Magento, everything, and then we combine data and pour the data into one data lake. So, and we did a data ingestion pipeline on top of that, and then we choose the LLMs. So the LLMs that we use there were Microsoft Azure, and we use an OpenAI LLM, and we created a prompt engineering on top of that. And with the help of prompt engineering, what we did was we also ingested all the triggers and actions that are going to be necessary to determine whether the customers or the users who are coming onto the website or app, are they going to register interest or are they going to immediately drop off, etc. So once we built this engine, so we did a small prototype on a couple of markets. So we did take pilot markets. And after taking the pilot market, so what we did was we understood the behavioral actions of the users and then trained the LLM with the supervised learning models and then helped the LLM to understand how customers or users are behaving on the websites. And then it ideally pays off in such a way that when the user comes onto the website, based on actions like if he's scrolling too much down, or if he's not clicking on the CTAs, which are expected to be clicked, or if he's about to leave the page very soon or not going to the next page. So then immediately what happens is, so we use things like Monetate or Adobe Target or any of the personalization tools, and we target them with the real-time content so that, we engage more generic content or more engaging content with the customers and make sure, so they go to the next steps of the journey. And we make sure, the cost per acquisition is also reduced from 22%, from 72 pounds to 22 pounds, then after. And as a result of that, what happened was we almost saved 60K per market per month. So which approximately paid off around like 2 million pounds in a month. And this GenAI engine that we have built is being used across like 30 odd markets now. So now we are moving on to another 40 odd markets in the next pilot stage. So anyhow, I'm going to show you a demo of like, how it is going to look like and what we did, capture actions, and how is it going to answer the questions, when you ask it. It's not only about answering the questions, but it'll also tell you how the question is being answered. And you can also compare the data with like different systems in the silos. And it'll also generate the queries by itself. It generates the charts and everything. And it'll help you to understand how the data is being processed, whether you can trust the data, how you can action the data, etc. And the next use case that I'm going to talk about is exposing the inefficiencies in the marketing ops. So what it means is, so as I said before, so this is exactly a similar use case to the previous one, but what it has done is we have almost like 15, 16 tools that has been used by one of our clients, one of our retail clients based in UK. So they are almost using 16 tools on their websites or mobile apps, etc. But the problem is, so they have like a lot of overlaps and dead zones and blind spots, which they were not really sure of, how to understand the data, why the data is being not recorded, where there is a gap, why there is a data leak, etc. So then what we did was, so this is predominantly to measure the efficiencies of the system. So instead of like helping the marketing teams, this tool that we have built is basically helping the business to understand whether the tools are functioning in the right order. Yes, we have Adobe implemented. Yes, we have, let's say, like Content Square implemented. We have Magento implemented. So now all the implementations are done. Are we basically using them to the right point? Is it basically giving us the value to the business? So that engine, with the desired rules and also with the natural language prompts, it is going to help you. Okay, can you please tell whether my Google Analytics or my Adobe Analytics, whether that's implemented on the site, is it collecting the right data? Is it implemented properly? Is there something that I can collect on top of like what it is collecting now? Is my Facebook or is my display or is it my paid ads that has been implemented, is it working properly? Is it the data is being ingested or not? Is there an overlap of the systems that is collecting the same data? Do I need like 5 systems or six systems? So can all the 14 systems work can be done by 3 systems or 2 systems? So that is how it is going to identify, and it is also going to give a predictive score of, yeah, you have 14 systems, but to be very honest, you only need 3 of them. So you can cut short on the other 8 or 9 systems. So that is what it is going to do. And as promised, I'm going to show a I'm going to show a small video. If you guys can see this. So this is basically, as I said, so I'm not going to show you the exact application, but I'm only showing you the local host of the application that we have managed to build because we haven't got our client approval. So what it does is basically, you ask any question. So you have data, like I said, you have web analytics data, you have marketing data, you have data from your e-commerce system, data from app, data from marketing. So all connected and ingested in silos. So you can ask any question, and it basically gives you an answer. So it not only gives you an answer, but it will also generate the query without even going into the system. For instance, if you have like Microsoft Fabric, or if you have Google Cloud, or if you have Amazon Redshift. So most of the times what we do is, all our data engineers or data scientists, they go into the system, and they spend a lot of time writing queries and extracting the data and then presenting it to the stakeholders. But we don't know whether the data they presented is right or wrong, because at the end of the day, the source system says one number, and also the data lake or the data warehouse says another number. So what actually it does is basically all these systems are integrated in one data lake. On top of that, we built this GenAI application. So you ask any question, and what happens is, it basically searches. For example, you search, how many users do I have? And now it says, okay, I'm thinking about it. And now it goes back into the data warehouse, and it tells, okay, these are the number of users I have. It not only tells the number of users, but it will also generate the query. The query itself will, so you can take that query, go back to the system. For instance, it generated the query, and you can take the query, and then you can basically paste the query in your Redshift or Fabric or any place, and then check the number, that whether you get the number is reflecting in your source system or not. On top of that, it not only does that, but it also generates graphs. So what it means is, so you can download these graphs onto Power BI, or you can download this onto Tableau or ClickView, etc. So unfortunately, so we all think like AI is going to take jobs, but it's not AI that is going to take jobs, but the people who learn AI will take the jobs. So what we have done here is, so we have cut short almost like 400 hours of effort, 400 hours of our client effort by building an application like this, because every Monday morning, every Thursday, they do all the reports, they answer all the ad hoc questions, and there is about like 15, 20 data engineers and data scientists sitting there, and they all work on like, what happened on my website, how is my marketing activity, how is my email marketing campaign performing, so why there is a huge drop-off, can I compare like one brand data with another brand data, so how can it be compared, and you give them a lot of questions. What they do is, they take like 5 days, 6 days time, and they work out, and then they write the queries, build the queries, and then they present back the data. But back of our mind, we always think that, is this data really trustable? Can we trust this data? So why there is a discrepancy between this data and the data in the source system? So can I present it back to the board? How can I present it back to the board? To which extent I can trust the data? For that reason, we built this tool for one of our clients, like I said. And the beauty of this tool is it's not only about giving you the prompt answers and the graphs, but it will also give you how it has generated the information. So what is the logic behind giving you that answers? And it will also tell you about like how the query has been written or processed. So everything, like I said, everything happens in minutes. So the things that you have done or spent for like 5 days, 6 days, for you to generate this can be done in minutes, or probably if not in seconds. And again, so this is all the data that you have in the business, and this can be deployed. And we've trained a lot of large language models, so before coming to a conclusion which one is best. So we always, it is obviously a choice for the business to whether to make with OpenAI, or you go with the Microsoft Azure, or you go with Google Gemini, etc. But again, so we don't see much difference there. But for this POC, this one, what we have did was, so we have taken Google Gemini because we find that is more relevant to this use case and the problem. But we also have a similar engine which is built on RAG that is completely based on Microsoft Azure that understands the customer segmentation. So there is a customer of us, so he's a very big fast food giant. So they wanted to understand, whether if they launch a new product, is it going to be successful or not? So what they did was they wanted to understand and study about the customers. So how are my customers? So can you please tell me about the customers who are like spendthrifts or family members or gym lovers? So how do they react to the fast foods? So what do they do on weekends? What do they do on weekdays? and how are their spending habits like, how do they react to new products, etc. So all these things, is basically being answered by NLPs and Gen AI engines like this. So the one what I'm showing you is the one that is being productionized in a business, that has saved a lot of man hours, etc. Yeah. Any questions on this one? I'm happy to take.
What's the percentage of mistakes?
Very good question. So when we started, it was 50-50. So when we trained it, it was 50-50 because obviously, so AI doesn't have any magic. So it needs a lot of self-training because so right now it's around like 97%, 98% accuracy. To get to that percentage, it took us almost like 3 to 6 months because we have to train the information. If that is like static data or if the data doesn't change much, or if the scheme of the data doesn't change much, you can get 97 to 98% accuracy in the first month or so. But if it is a changing data, if you bring in new systems, and if you try to merge new systems, and if you also have like new sets of data, then it is very hard to get that 97, 98% accuracy at the first go. It will always take like 4 to 5 months here.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your next stage of productization? Because when I look at this, it's amazing data, but a lot of marketeers are looking at key performance metrics on a regular basis.
Yep.
And therefore, do you have any kind of plugins with data visualization tools to
Yep.
actually make it a little bit more user-friendly?
Yeah. Good question. See, I think, like I said, what I'm showing you is like 5% of what we've done because we have restrictions of things, which we are not allowed to show here because we've built this specifically for a couple of our clients. So to answer your question, so there is a direct, so you can download this graph, or I know this is like a very tiny graph or a Mickey Mouse graph, but you can download these graphs directly onto Power BI or onto Tableau. You can download this onto any visualization tool. It's like an OpenAI model when it comes to visualization. So like I said, so the graphs can be complex. So what we are showing is like one graph in silos, but the real application that we have built, you would have a full range dashboard, which can be extracted directly there. And including the dates and everything, so you can either download that onto Data Studio or ClickView or Power BI or anything, you can download it. But like I said, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to show it, but that is what I'm showing here. Any other questions, please?
Hi. I just want to know what application this, are you looking at a single customer? So a marketeer that's looking after one customer that's massive in the B2C, or do you have a version that's for someone like me, a consultant? I work on multiple types of brands and service brands, and I would love to be able to get some insights for my clients. So, or is it, what is your target audience here?
See, the target audience, good questions. So this kind of applications predominantly sits with D2C. So for B2B, because of the restrictions and the way they operate, so it cannot be, I won't say it cannot be, but it can be used to some extent. But these applications are more fit for D2C and for big businesses. And even for like consultants, so who wanted to basically advise and do stuff, etc. Because this is specific to organization's data, that organization, and it can only help that particular organization because whatever is sitting behind this application is completely that particular organization's data. And this is more for D2C, and this has a lot of marketing data, e-commerce data, and also what you call like customer data and all other data injected in it. But this can be adopted to other businesses like B2B and etc. as well. But At this point of time, this is more a D2C application. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So big thank you there to, there's a few more questions that came through the app, so if there's anyone else that would like to ask questions, please feel free to come to the front, and I'm sure you'd love to answer them as well. But thank you so much, Manohar.